Hey guys, Dr. Erin here, back at Focus TV Network in West Hollywood. And if you're anyone that has dealt with trying to find their purpose and calling and finding meaning in life, you want to stay tuned for this great conscious conversation. Today we have Yolanda Hawkins in the house. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for coming on. And
Absolutely.
Yolanda is someone who is just, first of all, gorgeous woman inside and out, and has been so courageous to come on and just talk about life today, because I think that's what everyone desires.
Yeah, totally.
Right? So tell us a little bit about where you're at with everything.
Well, I'm currently in college. I'm 29 years old and I'm a server. And so my dilemma day to day is like, I feel like I have good work drive and like I can work hard and hustle and do such, but I don't see the serving industry as a career. So I've been finding, difficulty like trying to finish school and find my passion in that, because I know like, okay, school is like my only other option, where, business appeals to me, but I feel like, I don't have the leverage or the capital to do so. So I feel stuck is like my dilemma right now. I'm like, oh God, what do I do? Like, I don't want to be a server the rest of my life.
And you're in psychology though, right?
I am, yes.
It's a great field.
Absolutely.
Wonderful field.
So I think also the dilemma with that is the long run. I'm like, okay, because eventually I would want to get my bachelor's and then my, master's. And so I'm like, oh my God, I still have so many years.
Right.
And, I'm pushing 30. And so, yeah, that's been my whole...
It's a great, I think that probably there's, millions and millions of people out there going through the same thing as you. And I know I personally went through that as well. And so I just want to say thank you, because anytime we have a question, we don't realize that even by asking it and putting ourselves out there, we help many people, because many people are going through the exact same thing. And many people may even already have a career and still feel like they haven't found their purpose and calling. So,
exactly.
Okay, so are you open to doing like a little bit of a exploration?
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
Let's do
yes.
it. That's so cool. Okay, so there is a formula. I've worked with many people over the years finding their purpose and calling, and I have a fun formula. It doesn't always work, but I've never found it doesn't. So
okay, so I am down for anything at this point. Help.
Okay. So the formula goes like this, and you guys can get, a pen and paper out there. So it goes like this. We take our trials and triumphs, whatever we've had a hard time overcoming, we combine it with our talents and our skills, and that equals like our passions, and we equal it to our purpose and calling, okay?
Awesome.
So first we're gonna walk through that, and I know that right now you've not necessarily overcome and had all of your trials and tribulations, but that's a good thing, and I'm gonna tell you why, okay? So let's first just go through that formula. So number one thing, what has been the hardest thing that you've gone through in your life?
Losing my dad, for sure. I think that also put me back in college, because like when I would go to school after that, I was just like there in body, but not in mind. So I ended up dropping out of school for a little while after he passed. So that would definitely be one of the hardest things that I went through.
Do you mind me asking what happened?
He got prostate cancer and he did not seek treatment, and it came back in stage 4.
Yeah.
So it ended up taking him completely down,
Wow.
So he passed.
So sorry about that.
Oh, thank you.
And so what would you say, what are the lessons that you got out of that?
I think at some point, I just had to like learn to overcome it and just, keep pushing and know that my dad would want me to thrive. He was very like, like business minded. So I just, had to just know that that was like a stump, and to just keep driving, or I would just have been, stuck and miserable and stuck in the same place,
Hence, probably your desire to learn psychology and learn the mind.
Exactly.
Yeah, makes total sense. That's so beautiful. Such a beautiful thing that has driven us, right? We know that some of the hardest things we ever go through become the blessing, because it becomes kind of our purpose and calling in life, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's go on to the next step, and I don't want to shorthand that story because it's so important, but I also want to, kind of have fun with this formula, okay? So the next thing is, if you were to ask your friends and family, what do you think are your greatest, your skills? What do you think you're really good at?
I would say working, but as far as maybe style,
Yeah,
or,
you definitely have some style.
Or that's actually a hard question.
Yeah.
I've never really.
Yeah. So usually with clients, what we'll do is, obviously this is a big process. It's not a 30-minute process.
Yeah.
But normally what I'll have people do is I actually have them go out and survey and ask the closest people in their lives, at least 10 people, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? And people will generally find, you might be really surprised at your strengths. Like people may say like you're very personable, or your strength is that you're very detail oriented, or whatever that is. We don't know that right now because you haven't done that survey.
Exactly.
But obviously, I can tell by just being in your presence for a short while that you have the desire to be the best person you can be. And that's a real strength. And I think that may be part of the psychology aspect, is helping people become their best selves, for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay? And then your passion. What do you do? If no one's looking and you have a whole day free, what is it that you truly do?
I recently found out that I do like to write and like take pictures, so that's where I started blogging, or I'm starting to set up my blog. Outside of that, maybe like I love to travel, so I'm always like online looking at like my next trip.
Great.
And also where I would want to incorporate into blogging and taking photos as well. But outside of that, yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shopping. Yeah. I love to shop.
Yes.
Great. So this is just a fun formula, and we know that you haven't truly come through your trials and tribulations because you're still kind of figuring it out. So normally if someone was coming through this process and they had come on the other side, so for example, we would never want to hire somebody that was teaching us, was an expert in, say, entrepreneurship, and because if they hadn't come from the struggles of entrepreneurship, if they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, we wouldn't necessarily look at them to somebody that inspired us in the realm of that. Same with somebody who maybe was dealing with weight. If someone had never had an eating disorder or struggled with weight, we want somebody who's gone through a hard time, right?
Exactly.
We don't want the psychologist that is just like, well, I've always just had it so easy. Usually psychologists have come because they've had a hard time, right? So for you, okay, so now we kind of know the form. We know you're going in the right direction, okay? So when we come back, we actually have to take a little break.
Okay.
But when we come back, we're going to put that whole formula together, and we're going to go to where someone, if they haven't fully gone through to the total triumph, I'm going to show you a formula now to take out to your life to follow your bliss, because you literally are definitely on the right path. Okay, so stay tuned, you guys, as we go to the next section of the formula of finding your purpose and calling. Stay tuned. Dr. Erin here, Doctor of Divinity, teaching universal laws and spiritual truth, and I am thrilled to announce the new show on Focus Television right here in West Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. Join us weekly as I interview incredible people, celebrities to your next door neighbor, you name it, your girlfriend. We're going to dive into such topics as love and relationships, health and vitality, business and money, and creative expression. And I'm thrilled to just go on this awakening journey with you as we tap into meditation, visioning processes, intuition, and all the above. So stay tuned as we do this together. Hi there, I hope that you're enjoying this great conversation. I'm here at Focus TV Network in West Hollywood, America's first streaming video talk network. And I want to hear your story. We would like to showcase your story about consciousness, awakening, and spirituality. So you can reach out to me at below. You'll see right here my email and all of our contact information. We want you. Now back to the show. And we're back here, you guys, with Yolanda Hawkins as we're talking about finding your purpose and calling. And we just went through the first part of it, finding the formula, which is basically your trials and triumphs, along with your skills and your passions equal your purpose and calling. So we know that you haven't fully come through all the triumphs of seeking and everything, but you spoke a lot about blogging, and I love that idea, you know, so tell me a little bit more about that, because the industry itself, I mean, we're in such an incredible time in history of creating new things. So have you thought about blogging and doing the psychology with the blogging?
Oh, wow, that's actually, I haven't thought of that idea. That's actually a great idea, but I guess because social media has such a presence, like that's where my first, you know, I follow a lot of fashion bloggers online and such, so that's where my first like idea came from it.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh, you know, what should I blog about? I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm always like in my work clothes or in my school clothes, so I was like, maybe I'll blog about style and like day to night looks, and you know, and then, you know, I can blog about, you know, just other passions like traveling or whatever else I could put on my website, but I'm kind of like still shooting in the air and setting it all up, but that's actually a good idea.
So I never like to put my ideas onto somebody because I feel like it's really a self-discovery. But for somebody like you, what I would recommend is to literally follow your bliss, right? You go to college, as you know, because you begin to do your generals. And in the generals, hopefully you discover, oh, I kind of like that one area, or I like science, or I like biology, or, oh, I like psychology, whatever that is, right? So now you're in the discovery of being an entrepreneur, basically. And today's world in psychology, it's all open. I mean, we have VR, we have all kinds of new ways you can do things. So let's take right now. So if you had a perfect day and you were able to combine psychology, taking kind of the story of people trying to seek and find their purpose and calling, and putting it into a format of beautiful women that are like laptop lifestyles and fashion, what could that look like?
Ooh. Maybe like psychology with women and laptops. Maybe me working in, I don't know, a women's facility of some sort, like where I'm helping women become better themselves. Maybe they've been through some kind of traumatic experience, and I'm helping them like blossom at some point. Or, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a little stumped.
Yeah, but I think that that's where we want to go. We want to go to where you are fully living your passion, because we know as we follow our passion, as we follow our love, the money follows. We don't want to be delusional and not think about monetizing things, but at the same time, we don't want to sell ourselves out and just go for the money and not live with our passion.
Exactly.
Right? So I have a challenge and an invitation for you.
Okay.
And it is to come up with maybe a few concepts and survey again, either your social media, you can kind of post a poll, or you can go, you know, ask your good friends, what do you think of these 3 ideas?
Okay.
And begin to get feedback on them and play around with it. Maybe even try it out on one of your blogs and get feedback.
Absolutely. I'm so down. Thank you.
So I'm sure there's many people that are going to be watching and they're thinking, well, I don't know what my, you know, passion is. What do you think right now? If someone's going through a really hard time, how have you been coping with dealing with this struggle of trying to figure it out and dealing with still being in college, working, all this stuff? What would you say? What's been something that's helped you?
I've just kind of been focusing on present, like, you know, like I make sure, you know, no matter how hard I work or going to college, I'm like, okay, but I'm going to take a trip, you know, because traveling is also my passion. So I've just been trying to focus on the future, but when it starts stressing me out, then I'm like, okay, well, let me focus on now and take a trip or do something that makes me, you know, get through the moment. But that does not deter me at all from like staying on goal, because I'm like, I know this is where I want to be when I'm 35 or such. So.
Because you have to live it with a lot of faith in that you're putting a career that if you're going to have to get your degree, your master's, your this, whatever, there's a lot of time between there, but you can still become the expert in the meantime. You can still be doing the blogging, you can still be interviewing, you can still be showcasing other people and what they've been doing, and even if it's interviewing, doing papers on other psychologists that would give advice, you can become an expert before you get your actual master's degree or whatever, right?
Totally.
Yeah. Oh, I think that you're on such the right track.
Thank
I feel
you.
it energetically. I feel like you're completely in alignment with living a beautiful life inside and out.
Thank you.
I love that.
Well, I'm glad that I allowed myself to be vulnerable
All right.
because I learned some
Honestly,
things. So
you really did. You really shared, and thank you so much. And so, how
course.
can anyone find you on social media? What's your handle?
Well, I'm very active on Instagram. My name is Yolo Hawkins, so Yolanda Hawkins.
We'll have it across it for us.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and coming in and being vulnerable. It really means the
Absolutely.
world to
Thank
me
you for
and so many
having
people.
me.
Yeah, you guys. So check her out. Have a great day, and know that if you haven't found your purpose and calling, it is all about following your bliss. And in following your bliss, doors open and things happen. Stay present, stay passionate, and stay purposeful. Have a great day, and may you live your truth. All right.
Yay!